Qualifying just finished up for the 2024 Azerbaijan Baku Grand Prix, and it was pretty crazy. I'm here to go over every session, starting from Q1, going through Q3, and going through all the exciting moments, starting with Q1. Main thing in Q1 was just people scraping the wall out of turn 15. Really, a lot of close calls there. Colapinto actually started pretty clear ahead of Albon earlier in the session. Perez took pole, and he was up by about a tenth or two until Leclerc came through mid-session, got it by about 4 tenths. Sainz had a bit of a lockup into one of the runoff areas, not a big deal. And towards the end of Q1, the track was really starting to speed up. It probably got 1 to 2 seconds quicker. I wish it showed all of the different times here, but towards the end, I mean, you can see here in Q1, Leclerc finished Q1 with a 42.7, and by the end of Q3, it was at 41.3. So it was evolving quite a bit, and what that led to was everybody kind of putting in a banker lap early in Q1, and then at the end, everyone was rushing to get in. Um, and that was what made it really tense and exciting was that you knew that everybody kind of had to improve. Even both the Red Bulls would have had to improve if everybody else behind them had a chance to improve because the track was speeding up so much. And towards the end of Q1, it was I mean, Norris had about 15 seconds left on his lap. He came around, I think it was turn 16, and bottomed out a little bit. And I don't know whether he caused the yellow flag. I'm still not sure what caused the yellow flag, but it went yellow for a couple of seconds right before he was about to reach, he was about to be on that long straightaway to finish the lap, and he saw the yellow and slowed down, and then it went green a couple seconds later, like when he would have finished his lap, and he ended up boxing. So I'm not really sure what happened there. I heard his engineer come on after and apologize, so maybe he told him it's yellow and to slow down, and that's why. Otherwise, I don't know why he wouldn't just finish the lap and deal with any consequence afterwards, because there was a lot of times over the last couple of sessions that there was slight yellow flags and it would just go right back to green because somebody would go into a runoff or something like that, and it wouldn't be a big deal. But that essentially ruined his race. He ended up in P17. Let's say P17 all the way down there because he just did have a chance to improve. Um, Other than that, the main things were the Williams look really good, and Behrman and Colapinto both got through as well, so that was cool. And that's it for Q1. Q2, Max and Perez both started off pretty strong. They took provisional pole pretty early on, and yeah, I did predict in my video earlier that Stroll was going to be out in Q1 in 16th place. And listen, I was way off. I was way off, dude. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was wrong. He was actually out in Q2 in 15th. So listen, I mean, I'm man enough to admit when I was wrong. I said he was going to be out in P1 and 6 in Q1 and 16th, and he's in 15th. That's my bad. Um, yeah, pretty much to be expected. Not much else in Q2. Max and Leclerc took second, third. Behrman barely missed out in Q2 here in P11. Colapinto out qualified Albon again, and Albon just barely survived Behrman. It was like less than a tenth here, so they were close, man. The Williams did look good. I mean, obviously Colapinto was doing well, but good for the young guys, man. Behrman was really close to making it through, and I don't think he had the best lap. And yeah, the other elims were Yuki, Gasly, Hulk, and of course Stroll. That is it for Q2. Q3 was where shit really went down. And I mean, if you were watching, you know what I'm talking about. But we'll start off at the beginning. We'll go chronologically. Ferrari took provisional pole with 1-2 pretty early on. I'll show the picture here. Lewis got pissed off at the team because he said the tire temps weren't in the window. Da 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 da. He was like 9 tenths off, so I don't know if you can blame 9 tenths on tire temps, but yeah, he was not happy about that. Red Bull kind of sat in fifth and sixth after the first runs. The car itself is not faster, but sometimes in certain tracks, obviously you can make it a little bit better, and that's what they were doing in a lot of these sessions. But when push comes to shove, they just didn't have the same kind of pace and overall balance. I feel like that Ferrari and McLaren did. I mean, Lando would have been in the top four with the Ferraris if that didn't happen in Q1. So either way, Red Bull probably would have been 5-6, but it really started to go down 2 minutes before the end of the session. It was literally at the 2 minute mark. Everybody's coming out of the pits. They're all going to do one more run, and Albon comes out. I mean, it's not his fault, but he comes out with the fan right above his head for the the whatever duct that is, whatever air duct that is above his head. They had one of those fans in there with the dry ice, and they left it on, and he went out like that. And they only realized really when he was at the pit, like he exited the pit essentially and was on the road on the track. So I was looking at, I was like, there's no way they're gonna be able to keep this session going. Like the car was fine, so he'd be able to move away. But the problem was he tried to get it out. He pulls it out and like throws it off to the side. But as he did that, there was a bunch of dry ice sitting right next to his head on the car. So I was like, there's no way they're just gonna let him drive away and let all this dry ice go all over the track. But I guess that's what they did because about 30 seconds later, George Russell's coming through on his first flying lap. So I don't know what happened there. I'm assuming they're going to give them like a massive fine for that because they really did almost ruin the end of qualifying because he was kind of sitting at the end of the pit like trying to figure out what to do. The marshals weren't coming up to help him, so he was like trying to take it out himself, and he took it out and threw it off. But the dry ice got everywhere, so it was such a mess. I don't know how they let the session keep going through. I'm glad they did because obviously that would have just been you don't want the end of qualifying to end like that, but. Yeah, and at the end of qualifying, Leclerc took pole by Piastri by over 3 tenths. So I mean, it's really not even. Yeah, that's like what 3.21 tenths. I mean, that's pretty significant. The other thing is too, I feel like Ferrari's been better than the McLaren on tire degradation too. So if there's no red flags, yellow flags, or whatever, I could see Ferrari trying to take a one stop tomorrow, and probably being pretty successful. So it looks like they're going to win. I said in my earlier video, I had a feeling about Leclerc, but I ended up going with Piastri just because the McLaren's been so much better. And here we are. So, I mean, I was pretty close, but yeah, super tense session, man. Obviously, on these street circuits, at any point, it can pop off, and somebody can hit a wall and end the session, or just change how everything's going. So it was tense. It was really the main thing for tomorrow is just going to be what the hell is Lando going to do from 17th, man. Um, After the race, he said that he had enough pace on that lap to probably be second, and he also said that a lot of the people ahead are running, low drag setups, so they're going to be faster on the straights and going to be a lot more difficult to pass. So I don't know that the points are going to be doable. I mean, it's really going to come down to strategy, I guess. Maybe he'll be able to pass a couple people on strategy and the rest on the car being that much better, but it's going to depend. I don't know that he'll be able to get up into the points. Probably he will, maybe in like 10th or ninth, but much farther than that, man, I don't know. It's going to be hard because if they're going to be, fast on the straights and the street circuits, where are you going to overtake all here? Like maybe turn one. Like there's not a whole lot of overtaking opportunities unless you do it on the straights. And if that's going to be an issue for them, then that's going to be really interesting. And that just entirely, all the conversation about the papaya rules, and now they're going to bias Lando and all this other shit. Now that just went all fucking out the window. Because if Piastri wins tomorrow, I'm pretty sure he's going to be like pretty close to Lando. Let's say. Oh, I don't even know how to look it up. Driver standings. 197 to 241. Yeah, I mean he's still gonna be like another race win DNF off Lando, but at that point, like, what are you doing? At that point, you have to play for the constructors because I don't think. Listen, Max could DNF tomorrow. He could DNF next race. It really could swing either way, back and forth. Like crazy shit happens all the time, but this is not a good start going forward for them. I mean, he had a big gap to cover, and it needed to be a consistent thing race after race and not banking on a DNF by Verstappen. So, yeah, I think that's kind of out the window at this point. I mean, I guess Leclerc's kind of close now too, right? Yeah, not really. I mean, he's like almost 80 points off. That's neither of them are probably going to have a chance at this point unless Max has a lot of issues or has to take more grid drops, which he probably will because he's been working on that old power unit for a while now, I think, since at least Spa. So, yeah, this is going to get real interesting. I'm going to say Charles can bring this one home tomorrow. I think with Sainz being in third, they can maybe mix up some strategy and hopefully keep Piastri at bay behind. Um, it seems like they have great pace. Both of them have really good pace, but without another McLaren there to help, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So yeah, I think Charles is probably going to be a good bet for tomorrow. Top 10 is Leclerc, Piastri, Sainz, Perez in fourth, Russell, Verstappen, Hamilton in seventh, Alonso in eighth, Colapinto in ninth, and Albon in 10th. I will be back after the race breaking it down, and we'll see. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting. My only bet for tomorrow is that there's going to be a red flag, so I guess we'll see. Yeah, enjoy the race. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe, and I'll be back after the race. Peace.